See you later, Lulu. Love you. All right, welcome to another day. So today should be a very good day, and I will continue to explain to you why. Today is Wednesday, September the 17th. Of course, first things first, I gotta go to work. That's the most important thing because that's what pays the bills. Okay, so like I said, first things first, we gotta go to work. It should be a pretty good day for the fact that I'm gonna go pick up, well, today it should be my Corvette should be coming back. You know, it's been a while. So long story short, way back in the beginning of the year, my Corvette encountered a little bit of issues. What I mean by that was that as I was just driving, right? As I was just driving, my check engine light came on, and not a huge deal, but it started to putter, like it started to stutter. So right away I knew something's wrong. And along the way with the Corvette, it's kind of freaky, man. When things start going wrong, especially with the motor, the tranny code comes on, the traction control light comes on. So it was like, whoa, what's going on? And I drove for a little bit longer to get to my destination. Ultimately, when I restarted it, all those things still came up. But I had to get it home. So I had to drive it back home, which was a good 30 minutes away. Now, so long story short, I drove it for about an hour, right? This is a total recap of what happened before I go get my car later on today, because it's way back, okay? And my car is tuned, and it does, as you guys know, I have a twin turbo setup on this car. Now, the C8 overall hasn't had much issues. That's my understanding. So for these problems to come up, and my car was only 14,000 miles, and the turbo was put on around like 8,000 or 9,000 miles. So I had a good 5,000 miles of the turbo, and I really didn't have much issues with it, like I said. So for that to come up, it was just a little bit weird. Okay, so finally I brought it, and I was supposed to also get a flex fuel tune and a flex fuel kit to be added on, so I can make even a little bit better power, a more refined power, and also ultimately being able to use E85 with the car. So I drove it to my tuner that following Saturday because it was good getting all that done, and we didn't think much of it. Long story short, after they looked at it, they're like, "Hey man, something's really not right." I go, "What do you mean?" And he said, "Hey, we can't get cylinder 4 firing." Okay, so they dug into it a little bit more, and they looked at it's a V8, needless to say. They looked at the spark plug wires, and they found one of them to be completely melted. Okay, so they continue to investigate, and this is the part that did get a little messy because of their hectic schedule. They couldn't really get to my car right away, so they took about 2 to 3 weeks to continue diagnosis, and it wasn't a big thing because I was traveling on business anyway. So I'm like, all right, just leave the car there, not a huge deal. And ultimately, when I got back there, they're like, hey, they sat me on the side and basically said, hey, your car can't get cylinder 4 firing. So I asked them the traditional stuff. Have you performed a compression test? Have you done a scoping to look down the cylinder? And have you kind of switched the coil packs and so forth, play with the plugs, just to see what's going on? Is it really just cylinder 4? They didn't do a compression test because they didn't have time. And they claimed they did a scoping. So they said, hey, there's no debris, no anything, so it seems to look good. So they don't believe it's a blown motor. At that juncture of time, after almost a month being at my tuner's place, they basically summed it up and said, hey, we don't know what's going on. Probably looks like melted wiring. Okay. So I gave it another 2 weeks. I'm like, hey, so what we have to do is maybe, kind of work the system a little bit and remove some of the parts and start addressing it, right? Well, at the end of the day, they just didn't have time. And I would say that they tried to accommodate me by fitting me in. So I really do appreciate it. But at the end of the day, I couldn't get work done there. So what I did was I pulled the car out and I took it back to my guys over at Studio RSR. Toby and Dylan, all those guys over there, and a new guy, not new, but I haven't worked with him. His name's Nick. I work with those three guys, and we basically put out a game plan. By now, needless to say, before the time frame, we're in April, so the car was lifted and put on a truck bed and a tow truck bed, and was transferred to Studio RSR. The tuner shop did remove the turbos because we were thinking that we would go a certain route with it, which ultimately we didn't. That's a different story. I think you could see that one of my vlogs where they didn't honor my warranty. Then came where they're going to have to put them back on, because they have to put it back on because the turbo kit has a lot of fluid circulating, and when that's removed, if you try to start the car up, fluid would just get everywhere. So because we were waiting for the warranty coverage to determine that took another good 2 months. So we were in mid-April. So fast forward another 2 months or so, we're in mid to late June. Let's just say now 2.5 months gone by, right? Add a little buffer time. We're in late June. And, whatever, they too were busy. And it's crazy in Southern Cal. All these shops are super crazy. So if you have the money or if you have the capital to open up your own shop, do it. Because you know what? I think it's a gold mine here. Anyways, at least for now, right? So we continue doing that. So they took their time because of the scheduling. And, I want to say that they did, just because they had a lot of volume of other tasks and other job, and this was kind of dropped on the lap, right? But to be fair, we did negotiate and laid it out that I was going to be a priority. And I don't want to dog them, but that's the goal. Whatever the scheduling was, they did the best they could. Okay. So because of the initial diagnosis that they claimed was a cylinder 4, we went down that rabbit hole, and the guys kept looking at it. And initially, when they got to my car sometime around, I would say, we're in mid-September now, really around, I would say, August time frame. They start bolting parts back on because they had to put the turbo, and then they did an inventory of my parts. So to get the process going, they did the best they could because there's parts everywhere. They reconcile and say, okay, I think we're ready to start putting the kit back on. So around middle of late August, they start putting the kit back on, and they started the cars to get the car started so they could do what was the initial diagnosis they were supposed to do, a compression test. A compression test would tell you, is your motor blown, right? So they tested all 8 cylinders, and everything came out A-okay, and in fact, very much in range. There was nothing wrong with the motors. So in that regards, good job, GM, because even if I had to replace the motor, and it's crazy, when we did the research, the motor was actually only for the block itself, it's only $2,200, or let's just say $2,500. Of course, you have to put your original engine back to them, but it's only $2,500 or so, okay? And so, that was a good thing. So they're like, all right, we need to continue just ordering various parts. What I mean by various parts would be like, okay, what's related to the engine? Is it really the spark plugs, coilover wires, or is it the coil packs? So we were starting to look at those, and then one of the biggest thing was like, okay, is it really the melted wires what was the initial kind of observation they thought it could be? And all those components came to mind, and ultimately, after all the trials and errors, second major thing, there's no way you can get an engine harness on the C8. It's just not available. And when we called around for that, The only one place that had it was somewhere in Pennsylvania, and I got a hold of that shop, that dealership that actually ordered that one single wiring harness. They literally said to me, good luck. It took them more than 18 months for them to get that one single harness, okay? I know this sounds crazy, and hopefully by the time this vlog gets out, that GM has fixed that, which I highly doubt because this is still a pretty recent event. They did not have a harness. So we're like, okay, crap. Well, the harness is out because in case it is melted wiring, that means we have to rewire stuff, right? Anyways, so fortunately, it was not that. So we had to continue, kind of troubleshoot, and they did. And along the way, they tried various things. And ultimately, what I can share with you is that it was really just melted wires and bad plugs. That's what it came down to. Because after they swapped everything out, we tested it, we run everything, nothing. Everything was clean. So that was really good news. So in the grand scheme of things, it was really just plugs and wires. Now, then tracing down, how did these wires melt in that fashion? Because when we looked at the wires, we did notice that it was a internal melt rather than an external melt, meaning the melting started from the inside of the wire, not the outside of the wire. So it was really interesting. So right off the bat, the technician, the mechanic, checked the gaps on the plugs. Boom, and there it was. They were still at stock gaps, and when I called my tuner back, I go, hey, Sean, what is supposed to be the gap for this tune, for my tune C8? Oh, it's supposed to be like 0.0023. Excuse the extra zero or not enough zeros, okay? Well, 23, that's what it's supposed to be. Well, manufacturer specs is like 34 or 37, I think. It's not in the mid to high 30s, that's all I know. So that's a major problem. For those who don't know, if you don't gap your spark plugs correctly, what happens is excess energy will be caused, right? So excess spark. What do you think will happen to the excess energy over time? Of course, with excess energy that you're not using, it will create heat, and heat does the melting. So we concluded to that at least. Now, so all hunky-dory, right? They did the wires and all. Hopefully that is the final diagnosis to why my C8, was crippled. As for how long the car was down, we can debate about who did what, availability, or whatever else. But at the end of the day, you know what? Thankfully, it wasn't my primary car because we have other cars to be able to drive, and we're fortunate enough to have that. But it was so painful from what I had to go through. What I will share with you, all of you, is that just like one of the mechanics said towards the end, when it comes to diagnosis, every mechanic should make their own assessments, and we can't just take what happened with another group's observation and work off of that. So, was that my bad or their bad? I think it was definitely both sides, right? The shops from the shops and mine, because I'm not a professional mechanic. Although I've been around cars, I'm still going to go with the best guidance from what the shop will tell me to do. And the guidance, was, let's work off theirs because they are a reputable shop. So to that degree, it wasn't. In some ways, it was a misdiagnosis, right? That's for sure. But lesson learned. The vlog's going to get long because we're going to go pick up the car and go through, this entire thing. So parts-wise, what did I really need it? Just to go over a review. I needed 8 spark plugs, 8 coil over wires or spark plug wires, missing clamps. They did an oil change because they wasn't for sure how old was the oil or how long it was. They just did the right things. And a couple of screws and bolts and nuts. That's about it from a part perspective. Thank goodness. So stay tuned as I continue to go through this and just talk about my adventure with this thing.
Calling Dylan RSR voice.
We're calling him. Let's see, does he pick up? He's running a couple errands, he says. He's not.
What?
Oh shit, he did pick up. Hey,
No, not the bank.
you're on my vlog, by the way. I'm recording this call. I'm gonna scrape it out. I'm gonna keep it like, hey man, are you happy for me? Because my car's supposed to be done today.
Dude, I'm stoked.
Dude, I said on this vlog, I'm not trying, as I'm doing this, I'm trying to stay positive. I'm not trying to throw anyone under the bus, but it will be interesting when that invoice comes out. That's when the telling moment where am I going to have a very easy positive moment, or I'm going to have to hit everything on pause and go, yo, what's going on here? No, but
Wow.
yeah, but lesson learned, right? Dylan. I mean, I think one of the mechanics said it best. He was like, "Hey, we should never assume someone else's diagnosis is the most accurate diagnosis, because it wasn't a melted wire. It wasn't anything that they said,
Yeah.
And if we would have just off the bat did a compression test, we would have found out right away that hey, it was a pretty straightforward changes, as in swap out the plugs, swap out the coil cables, the spark plug cables, and we should be good to go. Instead of this going down all this rabbit hole and wasting people's time. So, but I do appreciate all of your help and assistance by all means, man. And it was Studio RSR that actually fixed my car, not anybody else. So keep that in mind, guys.
Yes, sir. Hey, I gotta go though. I'm at the bank. All right, I'll call you later.
He's running errands. He's trying to get some money for me, by the way. All right, go ahead.
Hey, have fun picking up your car, man. Let me know how it is. All right.
All right, man. Thank you.
All right. See you later.
So that was really cool. He did. I didn't think he was gonna pick up and hop on the vlog, but it was really good to hear his voice because, man, I met Dylan over, at least 5 or 6 years ago. So I started out with Studio RSR with my Toyota Supra. We call it a Toyota, but it's really a BMW Supra. It's a B58 engine in it. I built that car all the way out. I think you guys saw some of the vlogs that, and the drama I had with the tuner. But I met him way back. Super, super, super good dude. And he just tried his best to help me out. And so it's kind of where we're at with that. And he's down in Florida now. He's no longer in California. And it's crazy. I miss him with that because he's a really good dude. So, I wish him the best. He still works at Studio RSR, which is great, but, with the location and everything, who knows how's that going to work out. But super good dude. I will put his contact info with Studio RSR on the bottom of my vlog, just in case you need anything. Especially with the BMWs. They are the go-to shop in Southern Cal. They are the guys, especially Cage and everything. If you want about understand about modding, upgrading, and all that good stuff, and especially Cages, call Dylan or Toby or Robert rather. Do it because it's well worth it. So, anyways, I'm glad that I took it to this level. But like you said, I'm so excited because I'm waiting to pick my car up later on today, and it should be. I'm hoping that today's going to be a good day. All right, so it's getting really close. Justin here, even though he's a little bit under the weather, he was nice enough to drive me to our Studio RSR to go get my car. It's after work. Finally, you can see it's getting the sun's down from earlier when I had original vlog. I've just been super antsy, needless to say. It's just been a couple months out, like I said, so I'm really excited. It'll be interesting to see, how whatever else. But I want to share with you even the pricing aspects. So just keep staying tuned, and it's going to get interesting, dude. They literally don't even want me in the garage anymore. They just literally kick my car out. They're like, get out. I don't know if you can see it on the camera yet, but it's starting to come up. I think it's because they have to clean it, to be honest. But also they close shop and they just want to, So it's out. You can pretty much.
The destination is on
What
right.
are you doing?
Studio
Oh, you're not gonna.
RSR.
We're gonna have to walk down there, dude.
You are.
All right, you can take off. So Justin's gonna take off. I'm just gonna go down there and settle up. So, all right, drive home safely.
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. All right, I got everything. I think. Okay. All right. He's making me walk down here. You're good. He's making me walk down here. So. And she's back. Thank goodness she's back. She's all washed up. Oh, dude. I do miss her. Cool. Let's go and see Toby. Jesus, dude. So my son said, you kicked me out already. You guys don't even want me in the shop. We gotta talk about that bill, dude. What the fuck?
Huh?
What the fuck, dude?
What do you mean? What the fuck?
Are you serious?
I can't tell if you're being serious or not.
Nah, see, no. So I want to be on camera on this one, okay? These guys, no, it's, you know what? Here's the thing. This guy, it's been super fair. He dealt with my fucking, excuse my language. He dealt with my impatience. He dealt with everything. This guy's been super good. The bill that he gave me, I won't quote the exact number because it's just not the right thing to do. But what I will share with you is like, this dude right here, good dude. He did really good because he was super fair. He took care of what I need to take care of. With that being said, you know, look, I really appreciate your help.
Yeah.
Really did. I know it took a little bit longer than we liked, but it, unfortunately, it's just part of the process. With everything going on, you know, in
Well,
the
dude, it's because you took it to somewhere that told you the engine was blown up. So we're like, oh, all right, let's do everything to find out if it's actually blown up or not. Instead,
so we did go through a lot of drama, and this guy dealt with a lot of phone calls, a lot of conversation, a lot of
well, not just me, Dylan and Nick.
yeah, everyone did. The whole team here dealt with a lot of my BS, and I was just getting really impatient. But with that, I'm gonna pause there. I'm gonna set up the bill because it's getting closing time. I know these guys want to go home. So we just finished counting. He should be happy. I just want to make sure what I put on the table here. I don't have a printer, so I just want to make sure he knows that it is from.
Get McDonald's tonight.
This guy is so full of it. He's not getting McDonald's. Well, you know what? I'll be look, while he's a shop owner, and let's be very honest about things. It's not easy right now. Business is not easy. It's between the tariffs, the taxes, and just overall, there's still some disruption in the parts world.
Yes.
It's tough.
Yeah. Well, I mean, in the aftermarket in general, right? Getting parts is always the difficulty, and that's why we have so many cars here, because we never know if the part's needed or if the guy wants to upgrade, and then we got to switch it to that, this, that, and the other, and then having the tariffs and delays from shipping doesn't help.
Yeah. So I mean, look.
And then to do that one part for your car,
Yeah.
that Chevy, Larry didn't believe us, right? We said Chevrolet themselves, GM, said this part is no longer available anywhere in the world. So Larry came in that day fuming, thinking we were bullshitting him, and then we got Chevy on the phone, and you did some research too.
Yeah, I mentioned earlier in the vlog that
Yeah.
one part, which is the thankfully we didn't have to do anything with that.
Yeah.
It's basically the umbilical cord to the whole car, the entire wiring harness, right, for the car. And I mentioned earlier in the vlog, Chevy don't even have that in stock. I don't even know if something like that.
If you crash a car, right?
It's
and
bad.
you're trying to rebuild it. How are you gonna get?
Yeah, I have no clue. Yeah. But anyways, I'll continue with the vlog. I'm gonna let this guy go home. But again, really appreciate your help. Really,
Thank
you guys got to look up Studio RSR.
help out small businesses, man. You know, even though I'm in banking, whatever else, help people out. And this guy gives you an honest deal. You do cages, you do modifications, you do repairs, obviously. Dude, just go see them. Go see Nick, go see Dylan, and I'll put the number and contact everything, and I'll even put the IG on here, okay?
Thanks.
All right, you guys, I just picked up the C8 and it just started. It's just, now it's just making sure the car is driving okay. Like I said earlier, and Toby said, there is a check engine light because the car hasn't been retuned yet, because originally, because everything going on, we pulled out the tune because the car was just wacky. But now the car's all back to somewhat normal. You know, it does have certain tunes and certain things that needs, it just needs the tune to run smooth. So right now it's gonna run a little rough and so forth. It's just expected, but at least the car's back together and there's no cylinder issues or anything like that. So super happy. You know, the car, it is what it is right now. So I will keep you posted. And I really appreciate, again, the Studio RSR guys, Toby and the crew, Dylan and Nick and everyone over there to help me, you know, just fix this car. I mean, lesson learned is that the original diagnosis, don't always just go with that. You have to do your due diligence to not just leverage off other people's work and so forth. Until then, peace out, stay safe, and check out the other episodes for the continuation build of the GR86. All right, take care, you guys.